Hi everyone, we're Team 7, and today we'll be talking about how to refine your nonverbal delivery. My name is Rob, this is Sky, and this is Chad. So this is our summary of today's talk. We're going to dissect the topic up into 3 parts. I'll talk about how to analyze your nonverbal style. Sky will talk about how to practice your delivery, and then Chad will talk about how to manage your nervous systems. So for body position and movement, the ideal thing to do is to have a solid stance, upright posture, and purposeful movements, which all communicate confidence. So many people will stand in distracting positions, and they're very obvious to the audience. Things like feet spread too far apart, their feet spread too close together, or even rocking back and forth on each leg. All of these take away from the presentation and basically distract the audience from the message. So when you're delivering a speech, you have to be on the lookout for environmental factors, which influence where you stand and move. Environmental factors like this room size is pretty small, so I can't really walk about talking about the presentation, nor can I walk in front of the screen because you guys are going to look on the screen and study the quiz. So to use your arms and hands effectively, you can do 4 things. The first thing is to discover your natural gesturing style. You do this by being aware and noting your gestures in normal conversations or interactions in your life. Once you learn about the common gestures, you want to avoid the distracting gestures. Gestures like touching your face, your hair, crossing your arms, putting your hands in your pocket, fiddling with your rings or your watch. So next, you want to mirror the conversational patterns that you've noted and are aware of, and use those gestures to emphasize your points. Also, avoid using extreme gestures, gestures that go below the waist and above the face. So you basically want to stay in this area. Lastly, you want to adopt to the situation, considering the room size. In small room sizes, you want to have small movements, but in very large stages or large rooms, you're going to have more emphasis on the gestures, and anything goes and will look normal. So for eye contact, if you're nervous, this also helps. You want to find a friendly face in the audience and basically periodically look at them. This will help you calm down and ease your nerves. When you look back and forth across the room, instead of just using your head and looking back like that, you want to face them like if I was looking at you or just entirely face you. So it basically communicates that I'm giving you my entire attention. For facial expressions, you want to smile when appropriate. I can't really force a smile, so yeah. This lightens up the mood and it appears friendly. It also it affects and enhances how the audience hears the message. In terms of volume, you want to speak to the back row. So most people, when they speak at a very low level because either they're shy or they're nervous. So you want to speak at a loud enough volume that everyone can hear and maintain that level throughout the presentation. So most people, they speak very fast when they're presenting, so they get really excited or nervous. I myself am guilty of this. But you want to slow down your speech and clearly pronounce the words. So in my life, when I'm talking to other people, I usually get really excited and I just speak extremely fast and it just comes out as complete gibberish. So I have to consciously just tell myself to slow down, and it really helps me. And lastly, you want to add pauses in your talk. This will help slow your speech and also emphasize the points you're trying to get across. Now I'm going to pass it off to Sky.
Thank you, Rob. All right, so phase 2 is practicing your delivery. So we're picking 5 points right here to get comfortable with the content and your timing. So the first one is to prepare limited notes. As you see, Chad and Rob both brought clipboards. Some people prefer smaller index cards to write all their notes. So just prepare limited notes. You don't have to write everything that's on the slide, just what you're going to actually hit and emphasize during the presentation. Next is to own your content. By that, you can actually just personalize your content from whatever I'm going to present. I try to add a personal story to it or relate it so that the audience can understand. And then next is to connect your notes to your slides. So whatever you have written down, if you're going to tell a story on your notes, to remind you, make sure that's connected to your slides. You don't want to be, talking about practicing your delivery and, I tell you a story about a penguin that has nothing to do with practicing delivery. It just throws the audience off and they're going to get really confused. And then next is to also connect your notes to your slides. So, to rehearse your presentation. So make sure that if you have availability to go to the room, that you're going to present in, or a room like it, go ahead and, you know, try that, run the presentation with your team, and also get a phone and time your rehearsal. So most of the times our classes involve, you know, a rubric that says this is the minimum requirement of presentation and then the maximum. So try to, you know, time your presentation and rehearse it. And then next, on practicing your delivery, you need to rehearse with your slides. So link what they see to what you'll say. So everything that I'm actually speaking about is relating and linking to these slides. And anticipate visual distractions. Before I was presenting here, I made sure that all of the, you know, whiteboards had no writing on it, so there's nothing distracting you behind, or there's just not too much content or pictures that are unnecessary on slides. Then you need to practice in the room. So another good idea is that all of us are going to probably end up being in a board meeting one day, and if you're giving a presentation, that, you know, show up 15 minutes early, practice in that board meeting. It's going to help. You're going to feel for the room. You're going to know like how far the last person is going to be in the back row, as Rob said, and you can also gauge like, you know, how low or how high you want to talk. And then you can prepare for the deck presentations. Practice how you open up. So our tactic for opening up is we task Rob to open up our presentation, and he's going to introduce us. Some people, if you see presentations, they introduce themselves. We just thought it would be better to flow if Rob introduced each of us. Next, you'll also decide what to say about each page. You can't have you know, miscellaneous slides in there that you're not going to talk about. Make sure that every slide is covered in your topic, and a good rule to go by is less is more. If you can do more impactful stuff with less words on the slide or less content, and you can speak more about it, then do that. And consider the nonverbal messages. A lot of times you need the nonverbal messages is what communicate. Some people should smile when it's appropriate, and also, you know, point to the screen if there's something important on there. And finally, these are prepared for online presentations. So not every presentation that you're going to be giving is going to be face-to-face. Has any of you guys ever had like a Skype interview or a phone interview? So that's one way to go about preparing for your online. So become familiar with your equipment. You could take this for online presentation and also face-to-face. So if you never used a clicker before, you know, use that clicker and mess with it a little bit so that you don't mess up during your presentation. Send your slides. Also, if you're giving an online presentation, it's good to send your slides early to whoever you're presenting it to, and you know, make sure that they got the slides, because you don't want to be in your presentation and you're assuming that they have the slides in front of them, and they don't have it. And another good rule is, you know, last semester, this is for any time you have a presentation, if you're within a group and you have to task somebody to save the presentation on a PowerPoint or on a thumb drive, make sure that you also send that via email. Last year, I told somebody to send it via email, and we came to class, and we also presented. When you put it in the thumb drive, the file was corrupted, but luckily I opened up my email, this presentation was there, and no one even knew that anything happened. So it's just always have backup. Plan to start early. A good rule is, you know, if you're not 15 minutes early or late, it's a good rule to live by. Set your clock early, wake up early, have an early start. And also, you know, enhance your voice. If there's something that you want, like a certain word you want to hit on, make sure you, like, you know, heighten your voice a little bit, and also stay connected with the audience and enhance your body language. So the final phase, I'm going to pass it off to Chad. He's going to be talking about.
All right, I want to talk about everybody's favorite thing in presentations. It's that nervous energy that you get on the day of your presentation. The reason why people get nervous is because of the adrenaline that happens to be running through your body. Adrenaline is really great for making sure that you're a dynamic speaker. It makes you exciting and engaging, but that's really the only positive thing about adrenaline, is that it makes you exciting. It also makes you nervous, makes your confidence go down, makes your energy level so high that it's sometimes hard to control. So one of the things you can do, some general techniques, is to really just think about what makes you nervous. If you can identify what it is that's really driving you crazy, sometimes that's all it really takes, just figuring it out. Analyzing your symptoms is also really important. There's 3 different types of symptoms. You can have visual symptoms. Those are things that are shaky hands, maybe you know, big hand gestures, things that are going to be drawing attention to yourself visually. There's also audible cues. These are things like shaky voice or noises that you're not aware that you're making. And then there's the undetectable stuff. That's your heartbeat that's beating too fast. Those are the types of things that are the different types of things that make you nervous. And as far as physical techniques, exercising on the day of your talk is really important. You should really try to pick something that you like to do. If you like to run, go running. If you like to lift weights, do that. But the last thing you want to do is add an extra burden on yourself. That can lower your cortisol and increase the testosterone to help you more this while I was standing here. I just kind of had my hand on my hip. Amy Cuddy was the Harvard professor we talked about. Doing simple things to increase that testosterone can help increase your confidence while you're talking to an audience. Relaxing your neck, throat, shoulders, hands, and arms. Sometimes that's just as simple as shaking your hands and arms and getting some of that nervous energy out. Other times it's rolling your neck around or doing some stretches. And you want to make sure that you breathe deeply as well. When you breathe deeply, you want to take about a 4-second breath in and about a 4-second breath out. Those are things that can help relax you and center yourself. And then lastly, you want to make sure that the first thing you talk about that day isn't your presentation. Do some vocal warm-ups, drink some warm tea, take a hot shower. Those are things you can do to get prepared. Mental techniques. Some of you may have heard of Dale Carnegie. Be familiar with his book, which was How to Win Friends and Influence People. People often regard him as one of the best speakers of all time. One of his techniques that I learned when I took his Skills for Success class was, if you want to feel confident, just act confident. Sometimes that's all it takes. And that goes along with trying your positive approach. Picturing a calm scene is also something you can do. For some people that might be skiing on a mountain. For some others that might be going to a beach. If you're going to go to the beach and take yourself there, think about everything. Think about what it smells like. Think about what the different colors of blue are in the sky. What do the waves sound like when they're crashing against the beach? Those are all things that can really help calm you down. And connect with your audience. Your audience is really not a group of people. You want to see them as individuals, and that can help to lower those nervous symptoms that you can experience. So think about individuals. Now, some last minute tips to think about. Managing those physical symptoms. Isometric exercises involve things like clenching a fist, shaking your feet and your shoes. If you've got dry mouth, this is the thing I struggle with every single time. Whenever I do my beer festival, we do a big toast. And I toast to about 1,000 people. Lots of nervous energy running through. And it doesn't matter how much I drink water, I always get dry mouth. Well, one of the techniques you can use, you can actually just picture yourself biting into a lemon, make your mouth water, and it will help you out. Improving your mental state. This is when you have an internal dialogue with yourself. Give yourself a pep talk. I can do it. I can do it. Repeat mantras. Those types of things can help you as well. And then just relax. Speak to interested listeners. There's always going to be somebody who's nodding their head or smiling. Those are the people you want to identify. One important thing to remember, perfect delivery is not possible. And now we'll read the quiz. Number 1, blank factors influence where you stand and how you move. Number 2, to use your hands and arms effectively. What are the 4 things you can do? This is one that we talked about. Number 3, a blank delivery is not possible. Number 4, list one thing you can do to manage those nervous symptoms. And then number 5, blank, to control the adrenaline. It helps to do this on the day you're talking. Thanks. Thank you.
Great.